In early 1965, a tractor trailer, a fairly large box truck, and an Oldsmobile combined to nearly ruin my life. We'll talk about that today.
The story of my life.
Hey everyone, I'm Felix. Welcome back to the channel. On a morning in early 1965, in New Jersey, a flatbed tractor trailer had just finished up getting loaded, and the truck driver pulled out of the yard. On the other side, in Brooklyn, New York, a large box truck had just finished getting loaded, and that driver pulled out of the yard. Those two drivers had deliveries in different states. The driver in New Jersey, the flatbed tractor trailer, was delivering a load to New York. The driver in Brooklyn, the big box truck, was delivering a load to New Jersey. On the back of the flatbed were steel girders. They were loaded to the specifications, for lack of a better term, of the day, which meant that they did not have anything preventing them from sliding forward or sliding backwards. Have any of you seen Final Destination? Those specifications would not go into place until 2004. Now, the George Washington Bridge had 3 lanes going in each direction. There was no center guardrail, no center median whatsoever. So those lanes were pretty much driving right by each other. The box truck driver entered the George Washington Bridge and began to go over. At about the same time, on the other side of the bridge, the flatbed tractor trailer driver came up. They pretty much were going to approach the center of the bridge at about the same time. Now let's talk about the Oldsmobile. There was an Oldsmobile driving in the left lane, heading towards New Jersey at probably a fairly rapid clip. I can't imagine it was too rapid because the traffic on the George Washington Bridge and the road that feeds it, the Cross Bronx Expressway, is never open enough to really go too fast. Coming in the other direction was the flatbed tractor trailer driver, also in the left lane. That Oldsmobile was a little ways ahead of the box truck. At about the time that the Oldsmobile and the flatbed tractor trailer were about to converge, the Oldsmobile drifted. I can honestly tell you that to this day I have no idea why. But he drifted directly in front of the flatbed tractor trailer driver. Now remember what I said about the specifications for loading? That flatbed tractor trailer driver knew that if he locked up his air brakes, those steel girders were going to come directly through the cab of the tractor trailer. So he did the only thing he could think to do, which was to swerve into oncoming traffic to avoid this Oldsmobile. He had a clear shot through the center lane. However, in the right lane was the box truck. That driver immediately saw that a flatbed tractor trailer was coming directly at him. He did the only thing he could think to do: swerve. I believe the concept was to actually get at least the right side tires up onto the sidewalk. However, that didn't work out that way. The flatbed tractor trailer driver did manage to come to a stop shortly after the point at which he would have hit the box truck. And he did not hit the box truck. He came to a stop in the center lane. He managed to avoid colliding with the box truck. The box truck, on the other hand, was now on its side because when it hit the curb, it tipped the truck over. That truck was hanging over the river below. Quite the fall. The driver of the box truck, looked down. He had been thrown from the driver's side of the truck to the passenger side. And when he looked out the window, all he saw below was water. With what I can only guess is pumped up adrenaline, he managed to get his feet under him and launch himself out of the open driver's side window. The person driving the box truck was my father. I was only 4 years old at the time. I had not started school yet, so my mother was home with me. And my mother was going about her daily routine of whatever it was she was doing at that point. And she had the radio playing. Probably on WNBC, because that was what we listened to most of the time. And they did the traffic report. And the traffic report reported an overturned truck on the George Washington Bridge, and that all traffic in one direction had been blocked. My mother, till the day she left us, would insist that she immediately knew it was my father. Now, she probably knew that he was doing a delivery into Jersey that day. So just by calculation, she knew he'd had to go over the George Washington Bridge. But beyond that, it could have been any of thousands of trucks. But she swears, or swore, that she knew it was my father. Ultimate result of this story is that nobody actually ended up getting hurt. My father, I had a couple of bruises on his arm where he'd landed on the other side of the truck. The tractor trailer driver, completely untouched. The guy in the Oldsmobile, completely untouched. So, and I do remember that it took a number of years before this whole case was settled. And if I remember correctly, that my father's settlement in the case was $900. After, I believe it was 4 years. Now also, in 1970, the Port Authority put a center divider on the George Washington Bridge. And as I said earlier, load qualifications were changed in 2004 because of that, not necessarily this accident, but because that situation had occurred so many other times. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And I said, well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'll see you next week. I'm Felix, and this is the story of my life.